Hey guys, quick question. Next clear night, look up at the sky. You're not looking at empty space, you're looking at the inside of a dead guy's skull. Stick around, I'll walk you through the whole story, because Norse mythology did not play around. Before the gods, before the 9 worlds, before there was anything to stand on, there was just a gap. The Norse called it Ginnungagap, the yawning void. On one side, Niflheim, ice so intense it has its own gravity. On the other, Muspelheim, pure fire, guarded by a being older than the gods. Ice on one side, fire on the other. And in the middle, nothing, waiting. Ice next to fire melts. Where that meltwater met the heat, something started forming. Not born, condensed like frost on a window, except this frost gathered into a body. His name is Ymir, first ancestor of every giant that will ever exist, and the raw material for everything else. He falls asleep, and while sleeping, he sweats. From under his arm, a man and woman grow. From his legs rubbing together, a 6-headed son grows. Ymir doesn't have kids, he sheds them. Here's the part everybody forgets. Ymir wasn't alone. There was a cow, Audumla, formed from the same melting ice. She fed Ymir with her milk and fed herself licking salty ice blocks. She licks for 3 days. Day 1, hair shows up in the ice. Day 2, a head. Day 3, a whole man steps out, freed from frozen rock by a cow's tongue. His name is Buri, grandfather of the gods you've heard of. Buri has a son, Bor. Bor marries a giantess. They have 3 sons, Odin, Vili, and Ve. 3 grandsons of the ice, about to decide something about the giant sleeping next to them. Odin and his brothers don't exile Ymir, don't negotiate. Just 3 young gods, 1 enormous sleeping ancestor, and a choice. They kill him. The myths don't dwell on how. They dwell on what happens next. They don't bury him or burn him. They take him apart, piece by piece, and build the entire world out of the pieces. His flesh becomes the ground under you right now. His blood becomes the oceans. So much that it drowns almost every other giant alive at the time, all at once, in his own blood. His bones become the mountains. Broken bone and teeth become the rocks at their base. His skull becomes the dome of the sky, held up by 4 dwarves, 1 at each corner, so it never falls. The sparks still drifting out of Muspelheim get thrown up into that skull and fixed there. That's your stars. You have never once looked up at a clear night sky. You've been looking at the inside of a skull the whole time. Now the world needs a spine to hold it up. Enter Yggdrasil, a massive ash tree so big its branches reach into all 9 worlds, its roots into 3 wells, one guarded by beings who decide the fate of everyone alive, gods included. An eagle sits at the top, a serpent chews the roots nonstop, trying to bring the whole thing down. A squirrel runs up and down carrying insults between them. Everything that exists is hanging onto a tree something is quietly chewing through the bottom of. The gods are walking a shoreline one day and find 2 logs of driftwood sitting there. Odin breathes life into them. Another god gives them movement and feeling. A third gives them faces, speech, sight. The man is named Ask, the woman Embla. And every human who has ever lived supposedly descends from 2 pieces of wood. 3 gods decided to bring to life on a whim. You are driftwood that got noticed. Here's what makes this a Norse myth and not just a nice creation story. Nothing here was built to last. Not even the gods thought that. The Well of Fate told them a day is coming called Ragnarok. The sun gets swallowed by a wolf that's been chasing it since the beginning of time. The stars go out. The tree shakes loose everything hanging onto it. The wolf that finally takes down Odin, the god who murdered a giant to build this whole world, is named Fenrir. A wolf so dangerous the gods raised him themselves, got scared of what he became, and tricked him into an unbreakable chain, where he's waited ever since. When he breaks loose, his jaw isn't closing again until it closes on Odin. When it's all over, fire giants have burned the 9 worlds. The ocean swallowed the land. The sky itself, that dead god's skull, finally cracks and drops. It doesn't end in nothing. It ends the way it started. A new green world rises out of the water. A new sun, daughter of the old one, crosses the sky. 2 people hiding inside the trunk of Yggdrasil, the one tree that survived everything else destroying itself, walk out and start over. So the world you're standing on was built out of a murdered god's corpse. And whatever gets built after this one is getting built out of yours. Subscribe, look up at the sky tonight, and try not to think about it too much.